The housing market in Canada has been on a downward spiral since 2022. And home prices have also been on a downward trajectory as well. The price drops have given rise to a lot of speculations that the housing market in Canada might crash, especially when considering affordability in the light of the interest rate hikes. In fact, housing market crash appears to be one of the most searched topics on Google in Canada today. Well, in this video, I'll be talking about the reasons for the decline in market prices for homes in Canada today. I would also talk about the factors that determine house prices in Canada, also what the current trends and signals are saying at the moment, and lastly, my predictions on what I feel the direction of the market would be in the coming months or years. So if you are wondering whether the housing market will crash in Canada today, then you have to watch to the end to get that. Hey everyone, my name is Ebuka. This is the Finance Wiz channel and welcome to this channel. I basically talk about personal finance topics and I have several years of experience in the finance space. If this is your first time on this channel, feel free to like, share and subscribe with friends so that they can also enjoy the gems I'll be dropping in this video. So let's go straight into the topic of today. So I'll be starting by talking about the reasons why the Canadian housing market dropped in the first place. So the reason why I'm starting with this is because I believe strongly that before you can actually make any sort of predictions, you need to first understand the drivers for change and what factors made the prices to fluctuate over time. As you're well aware, the house prices have significantly dropped from last year till this year. Now, this has largely been due to a number of factors which I'll be explaining now. Number one is inflation. Inflation is simply the general increase in prices and the drop in your purchasing power as an individual. Now, inflation as a whole does not only affect your cost of living as an individual, it also affects the housing prices. Now, while the inflation rate might have dropped significantly to about 2.8% in June, it would actually take a long while for this inflation drop to be felt in the housing market prices, such that it could bring down the prices to a desired level. Number two factor is increased unemployment. Now, the hike in unemployment rate also impacts the market prices. Now, typically, increases in unemployment rate tends to bring about a sharp drop in house prices. The third factor is unfavorable macroeconomic conditions. I already mentioned unemployment and inflation. The other things you also need to consider includes the economic growth such as the GDP. GDP simply stands for Gross Domestic Product, which implies the value of goods and services produced in a country in a particular year. Now, the GDP has slowly grown in this current year, which has also impacted the market prices as a whole. So there are a number of factors that really determine the house prices in Canada. The first is what I call the construction of new homes. So it's crucial to know that the housing market is also determined by supply and demand forces, just like any other market such as the stock market. Now, if there's an excessive increase in supply of goods and services, this impacts the prices such that the prices will significantly drop. On the other hand, if there's an excessive increase in demand for goods and services, the prices will go up. Now, house prices are significantly impacted by the number of houses that are constructed in every particular year and the number of homes that are listed for sales out there. This represents the supply of homes. Now, when there's a high number of construction of homes and a number of listings in homes for sale, home buyers will have several home options to purchase, which will in turn reduce the risk of bidding wars and of course dropped in prices. On the other hand, when there are very few homes listed for sales or fewer constructions, existing home buyers will be less likely to sell their homes because in reality they probably would not have any other home to purchase to replace the existing ones they've sold. Now, based on these things I've mentioned, it's safe to say that if there are no adequate construction of new homes, then homes will be less affordable for most people. The second factor is government policies. Now, there are several ways through which the government has impacted the housing market through their policies. For instance, we have the overnight or benchmark interest rate, which is set by the Bank of Canada. As it fluctuates, it impacts the prime rate and of course your mortgage rates. And as you are aware, the higher the prime rate or increase the interest rate, the higher the mortgage cost, which would deter a lot of buyers from going into the market. And of course, this impacts the prices by bringing it downwards. Also, government incentives like first-time home buyers, first home savings accounts and many more are also done or issued out to encourage buyers to purchase more homes. The other thing is government bans on foreign buyers and the establishment of anti-flipping taxes on sellers of homes. This significantly discouraged a lot of home buyers and reduced the prices overall. The third factor that could also determine house prices in Canada is the rent increase. When the rent goes higher, people tend to consider alternatives like home purchase. The fourth and last factor I'll be talking about is the buyer preference change. Now, due to the pandemic, a lot of people consider purchasing homes from outside town or outside the city to farther distances because they felt it will be more affordable. And of course, due to this consideration and remote work from home, it gave people opportunity to purchase even more homes. This increased the demand for purchases. So just to tell you the current trends I'm seeing in the market and signals, it's believed that several sellers are scared of the possibility of a crash in the market, and as a result of that have been careful about listing their homes for sales. So as at March, this resulted in a drop of about 8 to 9% in listings, but this has currently improved at the moment. The second trend has also been seen is the reduced house prices. Now I'm specifically talking about the comparison of house prices today to the peak as of February 2022. So onto my prediction. I believe that despite the indicators of a likely housing market crash as at the end of 2022, I strongly believe that the housing market will recover in 2024, and here are my reasons. According to the Canadian Real Estate Association (CREA), there has been a 6.7% year-over-year increase in home prices. Also, real estate transactions are going up in major provinces of Canada. Specifically, there has been a 17.2% increase in home units sold between Q1 and Q2. This implies that the housing market is gradually recovering from what it was as of last year. Now, my third reason why I believe the market is going to recover is the immigration system in place in Canada. Now, the influx of immigrants on a consistent year-to-year basis will continue to ensure that the market thrives as time goes on, because these individuals will need accommodation to stay while they're here. Now, it's crucial to know that the federal government intends to attract 500,000 new immigrants by 2025. This implies more opportunities for increased demand in home purchases. The last reason why I believe that the market is on its pathway to full recovery is the stringent stress testing that has been established within the Canadian market. Now, the stress testing is simply a measure used to determine the affordability of a mortgage loan for an individual. Now, this is usually carried out before mortgage funds are being disbursed to the individual for the purchase of a home. Now, based on all these predictions and assumptions I've given, if you still have the question whether to purchase a home or not, well, I believe that your choice should be dependent on your overall goals or objectives as an individual and your long-term plans. So although I believe that purchasing a home is a very good decision, I think you shouldn't make that decision without keeping in mind all of these factors I've mentioned earlier, such as the lower supply, the increased demand, the number of immigration, and so on. Alright, those are really my views regarding whether the housing market is going to crash or recover by the new year. So please let me know your thoughts about all I've said in this video in the comment section below. I'm interested to know your perspective about everything and what you think might happen in the coming weeks, months, and years. Finally, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel as I drop more interesting and fun content subsequently. Thank you and have a good one. Bye.